All right, we're recording. What are you doing? You're embarrassing me. Don't embarrass me, puppy. Is this episode 47? You ready? All right. This is episode 47. I'm already laughing because her face is right there. I can't even do it. She messes me up all the time. You ready? What's up, guys? This is episode 47. I've yet to read the questions. Let's just go ahead and jump right into it. Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Blake Rodriguez with Dream Come True Canine. This is episode 47. This is the Dog Behavior Question Tuesday show where you ask your questions on our Instagram page on our specific post that gets posted Friday through Sunday, anywhere through that time. It's going to say ask your dog behavior question here. If you ask within the comments of that specific post, this is where we answer that. Today what we have is we have a new puppy, rambunctious guy in the mix. We're gonna go ahead and do what we normally do, and then we're gonna dive right into the questions. Andrew's gonna be taking the first one. We have over here in the corner, Copper. We have Leo. We have Norman. We have Maxwell. We have Blue. Behind me is the big guy, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Hey. We have Maggie, Samson, Maya, Soko, and that is everybody. So the first question is from Miss Koob. My baby has a submissive potty issue. Any good tips on boosting his confidence? First thing I'm gonna go ahead and say is I think with a submissive dog, you wanna make sure that your dog is actually submissive peeing versus like nervous peeing or excitement kind of peeing. Excitement peeing is usually something that's happening like around humans that has to do with a different level of affection and being unsure what to do. So there's a lot of different confidence building exercises that you can do. I'm gonna let Andrew kind of take this question over in a minute, but usually submissive peeing is not really happening unless dogs are really pouncing on other dogs or you're really on top of a dog where that's happening. Your dog shouldn't really be that submissive. So a couple things we can do. I'm gonna let Andrew kind of jump into this really quickly.
Yeah, the first thing I did, my dog had some submissive peeing issues, is I went to the vet and ruled out any urinary problems. And then I think just the basic foundation and obedience that we do and the clarity and having a dog hold place and having rules and structure really had like the submissive peeing like really melt away.
Okay, good. And say that again, the clarity and what?
Just like the basic foundational training and having obedience and the dog practicing place and having rules and structure, that stuff sort of melted away. Rules
and structure is a big thing so that the dog understands what to do. Because if you have a dog that truly is submissive, peeing is submissive like everywhere, I'm 90% sure there's a lack of clarity and like what's going on, and the dog is just unsure. And he's like, hey man, I'm not trying to challenge you. I don't know what to do. I don't know what's going on, but I really need to hang out. Copper, down. And that's kind of where it is. So we have to help to make things clearer. So one of the things to do is not look to tackle that problem directly, but look to tackle that problem in a way where you can make communication clear in other areas. And you should find that for the most part withers away and makes you more aware and observant of what's actually going on in situations where your dog might be doing that. Next question is from Semi-Sweet Jane. Hey, DctK9, you're currently doing a 5-week board and train program or training program with our dog Norman. That's the gentleman right there in the back. My question is, when he's back home, do you think he'll be able to not be in the crate during the day? When do you know if a dog is ready to be in the house alone and that he won't destroy everything the second you shut the door? Well, that's something that you're gonna be building. You're actually going to have a 90-day sheet, and there's videos that we're gonna be sending you. You get like exclusive material that like people that aren't our clients don't get. They get enough, they get all of this. But you're gonna get a 90-day sheet that's gonna basically tell you what to do from like the first day to the first 48 hours to the first month to the first like up to 90 days what you should be doing, and it's going to be going stricter. Long story short, you're trying to capitalize on building habits. Hey, building good habits of what your dog should be doing and capitalizing on the mistakes that your dog is making when you're around so that you can shape what a dog should be doing when you're not around. Right now, your dog is extremely young, and giving your dog too much freedom too soon without you being able to correct and address certain things and guide your dog along the way, it's just more dangerous than it is productive for you trying to get off of it. So the way to get off of that is to use the crate more to help develop the habit, no different than you would like a baby. It's like if I leave my baby alone while I go out or while I go to work or while I go shopping, is it gonna be okay? There's so many different variables and things that can happen. And when your baby's making that mistake, you're not there to catch it, address it, or fix it, and that's the big issue. So in the beginning, the answer is no. And that's more of a safety issue than anything, but we're gonna show you how to get there the same way that Andrew did it with Samson, the same way that I did with Soko. They were all crate trained, and now we don't even have crates in the house for them. But there's a way to go about that. We'll talk about that a bit more in detail. But overall, I need you to be using the crates as not a punishment or confinement, but something that's helping to shape the habit of what your dog should be doing when you're not around. Because the reality is, dogs sleep over 60% of their lives. The dogs that are behaving when you're gone are the dogs that are not throwing parties and ragers. Those are the dogs that are sleeping and relaxing in a spot and not in need of something. So if you're utilizing the crate, that's what your dog would be doing anyway if they were behaving. So you're helping to shape the habit where you have a little bit of confinement and these walls to kind of do that. And eventually when you remove those walls, that habit is still stuck and is still the same. So that's what we're gonna be building with you. Next question is from Carlo. How do you address the anxiety? How do you address anxiety? What are the steps you follow in your program? Thanks, bro, for all the free information. Carlo, I love that you're always involved in everything that you do. It's a little bit of a broad kind of question in addressing anxiety in general, but what you need to do is it depends on what the type of anxiety. You need to be able to tackle physical and utilize physical obedience and physical behavior and physical movements and direction and how the dog responds, and do it in a way where you can control energy with how you're moving. Control energy switches, on-off switches, have a dog calmly going through things, excitedly going through things, having dogs hold a position beyond just anxiously being this way and learning how to settle and do these things. There's a very big difference. This guy was struggling a little, but that was more puppy. There's a very big difference between the dogs that are holding place the way that they all are now. Like, she's a little more on the anxious side. Her owner just left. I don't know if she's in the frame because we just did a private session with her. So you can see her, but every single dog, aside from that, for the most part, is like all passed out. They're all relaxed. So the way that they're holding place, the way that they're holding these downs are different than the way that you would be for a dog that's expecting to kind of hold it down and kind of be like this and really kind of be working. And that's something that you're looking to do. So when you're looking to address anxiety, when you're teaching dogs to go through obedience commands and things like that, you want to do it in a way where you're really focusing more on the dog's state of mind and how you can help to alter the state of mind through obedience or through physical behaviors, rather than just getting your dog to be obedient compliant, but living in a world where they're living like this the entire time and going through sits and downs and everything and super hyper and then expecting them to relax. You're trying to really woo-saw and get them to kind of do exactly this, right? So focus more on the state of mind and how you're using obedience and just day-to-day physical behaviors, how a dog's moving and going through things and how they're doing those things. Look at the state of mind the dog is in and look to kind of alter that a little bit more when you're tackling these physical behaviors or physical obedience commands or tricks or whatever it is that you're doing. Sarah Paps, my dog will be 1 next week and still isn't potty trained. He has accidents in the apartment, but knows what he's doing is wrong as he hides as soon as I notice. Help. Okay, well, first off, Paps, I know you, so first off, what's up? Second off, I also know that you are extremely lenient because Malcolm has told me. So 1, step your game up. 2, you need to utilize crate training a bit more in a way where you're utilizing confinement and you're being smart about how to do that. You're likely giving your dog too much freedom too soon. And what's happening is you might be utilizing the crate, but you're not utilizing it in the right way. You need to be smart. Your dog is on the younger side. And what you need to be doing is giving your dog freedom after your dog has gone in the bathroom for a little bit, and then getting your dog straight out or crating your dog after that. And when your dog is catching on, it doesn't mean that your dog now no longer needs help or needs a sponsor. That's when you need to help to continue to promote these things. So as far as him knowing what he's doing is wrong, he knows that when he makes a mistake that you're upset. He doesn't necessarily know what it is that you want him to do or what he's doing. He knows you're pissed and it's, oh, zoinks, I gotta get out of here. It's unclear why you're upset, right? So what you need to be doing is you need to be a little bit more of a better time manager, and you need to utilize the crate and free time as a reward a bit more, and know roughly around the time when your dog's making that mistake. If your dog's making mistakes when you're not around, and the reality is you need to stop putting your dog in a position where he's making those mistakes outside of the crate when you're not around. In the rare event that your dog is peeing and pooping in the crate, which I don't believe is happening, but if that is happening, Angelo, we were talking about this earlier today. Angelo is here shadowing, apprenticing us. I don't know if he wants to be on camera or if you want to pan him off, but he's a dog trainer in the Westchester area. There we go. Say what's up. He's with us for a week. And basically, if you're smelling that smell of foot odor, if you pan over to him one more time, it's because this guy's getting very, oh, he just put his shoes on. It doesn't count. He just put them back on. I was going to say, if you guys are smelling that through this YouTube episode, that's what it is. It's not me. It's not the dogs. No, but basically, if that's happening, then we need to change what the dog is doing. Your dog might be anxiety peeing if he is peeing in the crate or defecating in the crate. So in that situation, your dog needs to be out more, needs to be out in place, needs to be out holding it down, needs to be out on walks. And when they're going to the bathroom, you reward them with the treat that you do and put them in the crate, and then you're getting them out before they're going, right? When you have time and you have days off, get your dog out, get your dog hyper, get your dog running around, get your dog to pound a ridiculous amount of water so you know when you're going out, your dog is going to go out. And in the meantime, if your dog can't hold place, that's a problem that you have, because now that's something that you need to use to help with potty training, because you can't put your dog back in the crate, so you need to be working on those things as well. So I would suggest working your dog for food, or your dog for food, and going through all those things. But long story short, stop giving your dog so much freedom and so much responsibility that he's not yet ready for. Make it very simple for him. Instead of giving him multiple choice answers A through Z, where he can choose to pee here, here, here in the house, and then hang out over here, make it very simple. You can choose here or here. You can choose your crate, and if you're spending time in your crate, that's not a valid choice. I'm also not giving you freedom of the house or the apartment if you're not going. We're going outside, or you're going back in the crate. We're going outside, or you're going back in the crate. You go outside, fantastic. I'm gonna let you hang in the apartment for a little bit as a reward, and then I'm gonna take you right back, and you're gonna go in the crate. So we make it very easy. The dog that's spending time in his crate doesn't want to soil in his crate. If I'm a car thief, I'm not gonna steal cars on this block. I'm gonna go to New Jersey to do it. Right? So dogs don't want to do dirt, just like I don't want to soil or do dirt in my neighborhood. It's the same thing, right? Kid Pack. Hey Blake, love your videos. Thanks for sharing your wealth of knowledge. One of my dogs is leash aggressive only with certain dogs. I can't seem to figure out what is the thing in these dogs that she responds to. I have started using compressed air to interrupt her thoughts. When I see her body language change as we approach, a dog that has helped and given me an opportunity to redirect her, but I don't always have that with me. She's just over a year old. Any other suggestions or tools or approaches that I can do? Well, first off, if you're correcting your dog with like compressed air and you're telling your dog not to fixate and you're changing them and then you're still bringing them to the dog, you might as well not even be using the compressed air. You need a dog to get to the point where they're not caring about dogs and they're being able to walk around rather than being on leash and letting your dog meet this dog and meet this dog and meet that dog. I literally just did a Periscope episode earlier today. What time did you get in today? 10. Around 10, so I started it around like 9:30, but I posted it on our Facebook page. Watch that. It talks about being relevant. There's also a blog that I have out on our website, DctK9.com. The blog is called Being Relevant, or How to Be Relevant with Your Dog. Check that out. That's going to make things clearer. You need to make sure that, let me kind of see some things really quickly. If your dog is being leash aggressive, a lot of times you're not advocating for your dog and you're not relevant enough to help the dog realize that you are a choice that matters, and you are a choice that the dog has to think between. I can focus on this or I can focus on you. But if a dog is focusing on this and you're trying to get their attention and they're feeling it but they're still doing this, and then you're not helping them to give them an alternative option, do this instead once you get their attention, then that's what you need to be working on. You need to work on being more relevant in that situation and get to a point where a dog does not care. Bottom line, the dog that is being leash reactive is a dog that is being nervous or uncomfortable or insecure about its surrounding. That's because you're letting dogs go up. That could be because the dogs on the other end of the leash are being jerks as well with silent languages. Other dogs are just kind of walking by and are softer. But regardless of why that's happening, your dog is in a position to make a decision, and your dog is in a position to determine how they want to handle the situation. Right now, that might be too much too soon for your dog. So you need to help take control and show your dog what you'd rather be doing and advocate and make sure dogs aren't coming up. And also, if you are moving away and your dog's not listening to you and you're not getting that head turn, that's kind of what we worked on, putting yourself in a position where you're getting that no matter what, and your dog realizes, man, I really got to pay attention to you. I don't have time for that, as you give your dog something else to do. So bottom line, you need to be more relevant. And the last thing that I'm going to say is, if your dog is acting that way, the problem might not even be that your dog doesn't like dogs. The problem might be that your dog is insecure and uncomfortable when it's tied up and the other person at the end of the leash doesn't know what they're doing. The example that I always give for this, I have no problem driving my car, driving my Jeep. I'm not scared of being in a vehicle in a Jeep. I'm scared when my wife is driving because I don't trust how she's driving. So your dog is not scared of dogs. Your dog might not be scared of walking. Your dog might not be scared of all that, but your dog is scared when you're at the end of the leash and you don't know what you're doing, and he's tied to you and he has to deal with that. So you have to put yourself in a better position. You have to speak clearer. You have to be more relevant. In all honesty, because my wife is there, I have to be nice about this. She is a little bit of a better driver now, and I don't worry the way that I used to. So that is that. Let's see, what else? Free fluidity. Hi, Blake. Thanks for doing these Q&As. My question, and lastly, let me go back to Kid Pack. Stop focusing so much on what it could be with the dog. Dogs aren't racist or sexist or breedist or whatever it is. It's probably as simple as some dogs are ruder and some dogs are not. Don't stop trying to look for it. Is it brown dogs? Is it golden retrievers? Is it this? That's just silliness. Free fluidity. Hi, Blake. Thanks for doing these Q&As. My question is, how would you go about teaching a dog that is growling, barking out of being nervous, that there is nothing to be worried about? I have a blog that is coming out in literally 2 days that talks about growling, what we correct, what we address, what we ignore. It also ties into a Periscope that I did that is on our YouTube page, so look for that. Let me double check a couple things here. There's a couple things that you have to do. We've done hands-on stuff with this, so I'm gonna try to give you as good of an answer as I can without being hands-on. But with growling and barking out of being fear and nervous, if your dog used to attack and used to like lunge out and stuff, that might not be something you want to correct, but because the dog is on the right path to getting better. The dog used to lunge and go this, and now he's kind of growling and nervous. Show him what he can do instead. You can advocate and you can step in and stop that dog. I really don't, there's no specifics here of why he's growling or what he's growling at, but show that dog that can be removed prior to the growling, or that you can remove the dog and the dog can make an alternative choice. Because you have to see if your dog is growling because he's trying to show you a cuddle cue, look, I'm really uncomfortable with this, I don't know what to do. You might, in early stages, it's possible you might even want to reward it. It's also possible that, like, as crazy as that sounds, that you might not necessarily reward it, but you might help the dog to move away. Good job, I didn't realize you were nervous, but thanks for letting me know. Hey, it's also possible that you're not advocating and stepping in to the point where the dog doesn't feel that they have to be nervous. And then 3, you also want to make sure that a dog isn't getting comfortable saying, oh, so that's how I make things go away. I growl and I get nervous, because that type of growling I would correct. So visit our YouTube page and look for that. We talk about growling, and also there's one on our Periscope, what we address. Hey, what we address and what we don't, which is really important. And I actually have a blog that gets into detail. So hang tight for about 2 days. I just have to make a couple of edits to it. And if you visit our website, DctK9.com, stands for the company, Dream Come True Canine, D is in dog, C is in cat, T is in training, K is in kangaroo, number 9.com. you will see that blog on the blog page, okay? Let's see where else we are. High five for canines. Hope I'm not too late. I have a question for a client. Her large dog is 7 years old and continuing nervous plus dominant behavior around her. He has bitten people up to 10 times mostly. Actually, let me, hope I'm not too late. I have a question, blah, blah, blah. Her large dog is 7 years old and continuing nervous and dominant behavior. He has bitten people up to 10 times mostly with people who get in his space, touch him when he's sleeping or when he's around the owner. He also has major insecurity or aggression while in the car when someone approaches her vehicle inside and nearby, such as a gas station. She has just hired me to train him, so we're doing a 180 and adding a crate, remote collar, as well as doing muzzle training and daily exercise. He does awesome outside, but guards in his kitchen and bed. Would you recommend anything else? Also, is it a bad thing to wake a dog up from sleeping? Well, this is actually very similar to everything that we were doing. What's up, brother? All right. This is actually very similar to what we were just doing for Alex and Maya. Like just 2 seconds ago, that was a similar kind of like relationship. Two things. One, the attachment that the dog has to her is unhealthy because of what she allows and what she nurtures. She needs to detach herself, and her dog needs to learn how to be around without being involved and stop allowing the dog to be in certain positions that it's not responsible for, which is very important. That's number one. Two, the dog needs to fear making some choices. So fear must be struck into this dog because that's a life or death situation. I know some people are uncomfortable saying that. I'm telling you right now, the dog needs to know that some things are flat out off the table. We need the owner to be more relevant and start working on these things. So how the dog is working for food, what they're asking for, you're gonna start to see anxiety spike when she starts to challenge the dog more, but she needs to help to put the dog through these things. It's really important. A dog needs to know that something cannot be allowed, certain behaviors flat out I will not tolerate, and I want you to go into an unsure period as the dog. Well, if I'm not allowed to do that, that's how I handle situations. What do you want me to do? Then we can take a softer approach and show the dog what we'd rather do. Because your dog, that dog is being a jerk, and it's been allowed to be a jerk, and it's allowed to be in this situation, in these positions, so things need to change on both ends. And that really, really has a lot to do with what the owner is doing, how the owner is dealing with things. We need to detach and then teach the dog how to be around, and the owner has to start taking charge with getting stuff and following through and getting behaviors that they ask for so that the dog can realize how to fit in rather than assuming they're a part of the circle. Anyone that comes close that makes me nervous, I can kind of attack you or lunge and kind of shoo you away. Things like that we have to flat out take off the table. So we have to work on strengthening the relationship and the bond between the human and the dog in a healthy way, and she has to get more involved with giving the dog direction and getting the dog to follow rather than assuming that this is how I do or this is what I do and this is how I act and stuff. So we need to kind of change the game a bit, which it looks like you're kind of heading in that direction with her, so that she can take on a little more of an authoritative role, not because she's a dictator, but because it's going to put her in a position to help give the dog direction in situations where the dog is used to putting everything, the blinders on everything else when it has something to do. It's actually going to start considering the owner and looking to the owner and saying, how should I handle this situation? Or you want me to go over here? You want me to not do that? So the owner needs to be more relevant and working the dog for food, getting the dog better on leash pressure, getting the dog better on remote pressure, getting the dog better with verbal markers, and having her challenge the dog in the other 23 hours of the day in everyday situations where the problems aren't arising is what's going to help her to realize how bad of a situation she's actually in and how much the dog will struggle with the simple stuff that you and her might not realize are connected at the current moment. All right. Last one is from Sammy YouTuber. Love your feed. Actually, that's not even a question. That's just someone who says, I'm happy to sub for sub. I'm trying to learn. I just started a YouTube channel. If you are watching this show, which I doubt it, that is not how you get subscribers. Maybe for other people, I'm not a sub for sub type of person. I'm glad that you love my feed. I'll happily check yours out, but I don't know nothing about you, so I'm not just gonna sub to your YouTube channel. I'm sorry, I apologize. I hope that's not a dick or jerkish thing that I'm saying, but it doesn't work that way. You gotta hustle and you gotta provide value sort of the way that I'm trying to do here. I'm not asking people to subscribe just because. I'm providing a service that I think in return would be nice for a sub. So you gotta hustle, hustle, hustle and give them a reason. By people checking us out on Instagram, they go to our YouTube, they go to our Instagram, people see us on YouTube, they go to our Instagram, they follow us here. People see, hey, our Facebook and see the connections with our Periscope and what we're giving rather than what we're asking for. Before you ask, you must, hey, down. Before you ask, you must give. Give, right? Gary Vaynerchuk, was it jab, 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 right hook? Stop trying to hit people with these right hooks and you're not jabbing and baiting them into the right hook, right? You need to give more and genuinely care and want to provide and help other people before you can ask anything of them. If you do that, I promise it will pay dividends and you will get what you want in return, but you got to hustle. Sub for sub, that shit don't work, homegirl. All right, that is it. Episode 47. I'll see you guys next week. And make sure to keep tabs on all our other social media platforms. Subscribe, follow, like. Just kidding. Later, guys.